Welcome back to the Frith Guild podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm co-host Scott.
And today we'll be going over chapters 26 through 30 of World Serpent Arcanist. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody that the second bestiary the Kickstarter will be going on right now as we are talking. I believe the end date for that is October the 22nd of 2024. And if anybody would like to jump on that Kickstarter, I know Shammy did also say that if there's enough people that do the Kickstarter that she'll send out everybody a Nickel and Rizzle plushie. So I want Nickel and Rizzle plushie. I know, Scott.
I don't think it needs to be said. Like, I want my own little Rizzle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we get enough, there's even a Luther plushie. So, like, there are possibilities here. So, and if you did not get the first bestiary, you can order it through the second Kickstarter as well. So you're not missing out on a book in the. We will be getting to the bestiary section. And before we do, just want to make a quick reminder mention of next week's episode, since this is a chunky boy. Again, we are going to end up doing a book review on another of Shammy Stovall's works, the Nexus games, that just in case those that are familiar with the Frith Chronicles but haven't really ever expounded upon their readings of Shammy's work, maybe other than Time Mark Warlock, we'll be going over the Nexus games and talking about it. It's great. We'll save that for next week.
Lit RPG, very good.
Yes. So we will be talking about that. There's actually a reference we made in last week's episode from the Nexus games. So I imagine if you have read it, you will have definitely gotten it. But anywho, I digress. All right. Today in the bestiary, we are going to go over the updated information of the Mimic. And just a quick refresher on it, a Mimic is a mystical creature who regularly changes shapes. It's able to transform into other mystical creatures. But they have to be close within the field of area, basically, that the Arcanist can sense them or the Mimic can sense them. And when the Mimic is in its natural form, it appears to be a domestic house cat. With all of the Mimics that we have seen, they have all been T names, basically meaning twin or copy or something along those lines, hence Tracis. There's Twain in the Academy series. So just a couple examples of names for the Mimics, as they are copycats, and they either have gray, pink, orange, tan, or a light blue color. And all of them have heterochromia. I have no idea if I said that right, but their eyes. Okay, awesome. They have two different eye colors, which is amazing. I love that so much. And I like to, again, my own headcanon here, think that they're polydactyl cats that have more than 5 toes, because just extra toe beans. So with their mythology, these basically are loosely based off of the Mimics from Dungeons and Dragons, which are the chests that appear to be a chest, but they're not actually a treasure chest. They're actually a monster. When Shammy was asked about what she thought about Mimics, she replied that they're little copycats. So that's what led to an inside joke where she claimed all Mimics in their base form were secretly cats. So even in the Dungeons and Dragons version, I'm sure her headcanon is they are secretly cats until you come in the room. The Mimic's Trial of Worth is the mother of shapeshifters. Basically asks their candidate what their greatest fear are and then try to kill them using that answer. A couple examples we have seen is dropping somebody from fear of heights or having bit by a snake. The response that Zelfrey had given the mother of shapeshifters was he fears nothing, in which she gave him the Mimic 4. Mimics are a very unique creature in the sense that they are tier 1 through 4. This is basically going to be whatever creature they turn into is going to base off what their tier level is. And the Mimics cannot mimic a god creature. They are a progeny reproduction. Again, they're created by the mother of shapeshifters. Their evocation, their augmentation, and manipulation, all three are going to be the same. Whatever they turn into is going to be what their power set is going to be, your magical set. Essentially, they are Ditto from Pokemon. Their first move is always transform and then go from there. They also don't have the creepy beady eyes when they transform. That always I liked it because that's how they like showed you that it was a ditto, but still gives me like TVs. Anyways, so with their passive abilities, they can sense magic that's around them. They can also gain innate abilities from whatever they transform into. So if they transform into a nightmare, they can see in the dark. If they transform into a phoenix, they can be heat resistant. So on and so forth. Again, they are just a copycat. They can do whatever everybody else can. With their auras, they have a chimera aura. We've seen this with the Marshal of the Southern Seas, I believe it was, when Zelfrey faced that with Callisto and with Eventide and Ruma. Basically, they're able to copy multiple Eldrin's forms of magic all at once. So they're able to use a multitude of things, but they have to have those creatures in the area in order to copy them. Now, their true form. Ooh, this is one of those things that I got so excited for with the Academy series. Touched on it the first time they touched on it with true forms or any kind of conversation about true forms with mimics. We found out that they are a Gaius and that the mother of shapeshifters says only those who defeated the oldest shapeshifter can achieve true form. Now, this is reference to the oldest shapeshifter being fear itself. And that is the only way that we will be able to see or to achieve our true form. And now, with their appearance, mimics actually will split into two exactly identical copies of cats, and then they can transform independently.
So cool.
You have three different. Oh my gosh, it is like you have three different creatures. Cool. I'm gonna turn you into this and you into that. Like, still don't have three, but you know what? Two, because two is better than one. And then just the icing on the cake, the topping off of the mimics' true form abilities, they unlock God tier. That not only can they split into two mimics, but now they can transform into a god creature as long as both mimics are still alive. They have to have both of them, but hey, if you're telling me, what's that?
The option's there.
Exactly, the option is there, man. Like, that's awesome. Now, unfortunately, if one of the mimics dies, then they cannot do god tier level. However, if one does die, then the other still lives. Just you can only merge one again. So, kind of have to make sure you don't let them die. But true form.
Very cool. The other one we're going to touch on is the Khepera. So the Khepera are fist-sized scarabs with iridescent exoskeletons, black eyes, and they are extremely smart. They have 6 black legs, and the front 2 legs are described as being barbed, but as they mature, they grow to resemble saw blades, which is pretty freaking cool. Despite their size, their voices are very regal and intimidating. They are based off of the ancient Egyptian myths surrounding scarabs. So there are a lot of stories where scarabs are a symbol for rebirth, life, death, resurrection. And in those myths, essentially the sun dies every night and the scarab magic heals it and it's reborn again in the morning. Their trial of worth is to venture through an underground maze filled with puzzles. But due to kind of the duality of the Khepera, the physical and mental portion, you see both physical and intellectual challenges. They are tier 3 and reproduce through fables. So there's 112 Khepera that were born from the first sands of the desert. And when a Khepera dies, it actually retransforms, resurrects, I guess is probably the better term. Renews. It renews as a child back in the maze. So due to that reason, that's very limited to the number of Khepera that are available. They are able to evoke desert light, so white hot light. Their manipulation is time, so we see this where they're actually able to kind of turn back time a little bit. Vedica does this to renew Zaxxas and Volk. It's very limited though, so you kind of take old things and make them a little bit new. So minor effects of aging, but you can't necessarily go back 20 years and heal something. Their passive ability is the ability to see in blinding bright lights, and they are immune to soul damage. Their aura is ancient eyesight, so when they create an aura, there's a fog in the area, and that causes memories to play out that are tied to location. So, for example, if you were in a library, you'd see people going in and out of that library who were there, and things that are greatly emotional are shown much more vividly. True form appearance. So once they achieve their true form, their exoskeleton becomes pure gold and glistens regardless of the lighting. Their eyes turn to diamonds and they grow to the size of a large dog. And they gain the ability once more. So they are able to go back in time up to 24 hours, but only twice. So each time the Khepera and the Arcanist travel back in time, one of their diamond eyes shatters.
So a Darefinch wouldn't be able to go back multiple times if he had a Khepera.
Not if he had a Khepera. He's lucky he got Kronos.
All right. With that, we're going to end this week's episode. We do also want to thank everybody for listening. Just a quick reminder, we have a few dates as far as releases go. So again, Labyrinth Arcanist will be releasing December 10th of 2024. Again, the second Kickstarter begins September 25th, and then it will run through October 21st. So just remember that. Again, if you didn't get the first book in the bestiary, you're still able to get it now. And I want the Nickelin plushies.
Buy your Kickstarters.
So, right.
Do it for the plushie.
Sorry, Sherry. Love the book. I want the plushie.
Eric, Scott, and I want to thank everyone for listening today. We post a new episode every Wednesday morning at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, and 8 Pacific Standard Time. We are on all podcasting platforms and are also on YouTube as well for video. After the additional episode airs, we post chapter-by-chapter videos every day in a smaller, easier-to-digest format. We do want to give a special shout-out to the final member of our team, Dan Mackison, one of the admins for the Frith Chronicles Wiki, link listed below, and doing his best to keep everything running smoothly behind the scenes. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at frithguildpod@gmail.com or on Facebook or any other social media by searching for Frith Guild Podcast. Just to remind everybody, we have links to everything in the description below on both the podcast and YouTube. Scott, do you have anything else you want to add this week?
No, just looking forward to diving into Nexus games.
Thank y'all for listening. Let's catch you next week.